Hello everyone, welcome to Venom Guidance. This is Dr. Anuja Sharma, and in this video we'll talk about hydrophobic interaction chromatography. But before we talk about hydrophobic interaction chromatography, let's talk about CSIR NET and GATE 2021 exam. As I told you in my last video, Unacademy has started its special batches for Focus CSIR NET 2021 and Practice Booster GATE 2021 exam from 1st December. I hope you all registered for it and started your journey to crack CSIR NET and GATE exam. But if you haven't, I have an amazing news for you. Unacademy is giving a 10% discount for early bird registration. Yes, 10% it is. These batches will cover the full-length courses for CSIR NET and GATE Life Science 2021. The courses will be taught by India's top educators, including CSIR NET toppers, mentors, and specialists. These courses will include doubt-solving classes, so you'll be able to clarify your doubt. Courses will be available in both English and Hindi languages, and notes will be provided in English. I think you'll definitely benefit from these classes despite the stage of your preparation, and it is a great opportunity for students who are planning to attend CSIR exam for the first time, and an amazing revision strategy for all students. So what are you waiting for? Start your preparation early and beat the price hike. Click on the link in the description box and use code CSIRNET to avail a 10% discount on your subscription. Again, the link is in the description box. Click it, share it, and stay tuned for more updates. So let's get into the video now. Hydrophobic interaction chromatography is a method of separation and purification of protein based on the function of hydrophobicity. That's why the name. Now, during hydrophobic interaction chromatography, protein containing both hydrophilic and hydrophobic groups are subjected to an HIC column under a controlled salt buffer condition, which basically enhances the binding of your protein of interest with the ligands present on the resin used in hydrophobic interaction chromatography. Now, hydrophobic interaction chromatography can be used for the separation of proteins, antibody fragments, antibody drug conjugates, and other larger molecules. Also, hydrophobic interaction chromatography can be used at any stage of purification. It can be used as a capture step, it can be used as an intermediate purification step, and it can also be used as a polishing step. And hydrophobic interaction chromatography is a type of liquid-solid chromatography, which means the mobile phase is liquid and the stationary phase is solid. Now, the stationary phase usually contains a ligand with alkyl or aryl group, and this ligand is bound to an inert matrix of spherical beads or particles. And these spherical beads are generally made up of hydrophilic carbohydrates like cross-linked agarose or synthetic copolymers. Now, some examples of commercially available stationary phases are macroprep T-butyl media, which consists of T-butyl and carboxyl groups. And two other examples are porous ethyl HIC resin, which is made up of ethyl, and this is particularly used for separation and purification of proteins with low hydrophobicity. And another one is porous benzyl HIC resin, which is used for the purification of protein with high hydrophobicity. Now, let's look at the principle of hydrophobic interaction chromatography. So, your proteins containing both hydrophilic and hydrophobic groups are subjected to HIC column under high salt buffer conditions. Now, this high salt buffer condition, generally ammonium sulfate is used as the salt, and generally 1 to 2 molar ammonium sulfate is used. Now, during this high salt condition, it results in the solvation of your biomolecules in the sample, and this solvation, it results in the exposure of hydrophobic groups which are present on the surface of protein. So, on exposure, these hydrophobic groups present on the surface of the proteins, they can now bind to the hydrophobic molecule which is present on your ligand. See, the inert matrix of agarose and synthetic copolymer, these are porous in nature. So they basically provides high internal surface area, while the ligand, which consists of alkyl and aryl group, it contributes to the overall hydrophobicity of your resin. So your resin is basically hydrophobic in nature. So when the hydrophobic regions of your protein of interest are exposed, these regions can bind to the hydrophobic regions of the ligand. Now, since a high salt concentration is required for binding of your protein with your ligand, the opposite of that means the low salt concentration will be required for elution. So during elution, generally a decreasing salt concentration, a decreasing gradient of salt is subjected to your column, and the molecules will be separated in the increasing order of their hydrophobicity. So at the high salt concentration in the elution buffer, biomolecules with low hydrophobicity will be eluted from the column, and at low salt concentration, molecules with high hydrophobicity will be eluted from the column. Now, since a high salt concentration is required for hydrophobic interaction chromatography, this is generally a method of choice once your crude sample containing your proteins of interest has been cleaned up using ammonium sulfate precipitation, or it has been through ion exchange chromatography, because in both the methods your protein of interest is already in a high salt condition. Now let's look at the various steps which are involved in hydrophobic interaction chromatography and their correlation with the graph. And the first step in hydrophobic interaction chromatography is the equilibration, which is done using a start buffer at a very high salt concentration. Now the usual concentration of salt which is used is 1 to 2 molar ammonium sulfate is used, or 3 molar NaCl is used. Now the start buffer, it fills all the pores of the resin and also the void spaces between the resins. Now the next step after equilibration is the sample application. Now your sample should also be present in the same high salt concentration as the start buffer. Now the start buffer basically gets your column ready for sample application, and the start buffer, since it has high salt concentration, it is required for enhancing the interaction between your hydrophobic protein of interest and the hydrophobic ligand. So once you apply the sample in the column, your protein of interest will bind to the ligands, and rest of the molecules with less hydrophobicity and impurities present in your crude mixture, they will leave the column. Now the choice of buffer, the choice of salt which is used in the buffer, and the choice of concentration of salt, it will depend on your protein of interest. So you have to choose a salt and a concentration of the salt in such a way that your protein of interest binds to the ligand, and rest of the molecules which are present in the crude sample, they just leave the column during the sample application or during the wash step. Now once you're done with the sample application, you'll see that during the equilibration step, this region, this straight line of the graph, represents that your column has been equilibrated with the start buffer, and no biomolecules are coming out of the column. And when you apply the sample, the unbound proteins which do not bind to the ligand, they will start coming out, and this region of the graph, it represents the unbound molecules which are coming out of the column. Now after you're done with the sample application, the next step is wash step. The wash step is done using a salt-free medium. So during the wash step, all the unbound material which are still present in your column will leave the column, and you have to repeat this step till you get a straight line. Now once the wash step is done, once you get a straight line on the basis of UV absorbance, the next step is the elution. Now elution in hydrophobic interaction chromatography is done using a decrease in salt concentration. So you basically use a gradient method with decreasing salt concentration. Now once you apply the elution buffer, and once you start decreasing the salt concentration in your buffer, you'll see a spike in your graph, and as soon as you see this spike, it means that your protein is, some kind of molecule is coming out of the column. Now as you start decreasing the salt concentration in your buffer, the molecules that come out of the column, they'll be in increasing order of hydrophobicity. So initially the biomolecules with low hydrophobicity, they'll come out of the column, they'll be eluted from the column, and as you start decreasing the salt concentration, then the biomolecules with intermediate hydrophobicity will be eluted next, and lastly the proteins or the biomolecules with high hydrophobicity will leave the column. Now, once you have done the elution, you also run a salt-free buffer through the column to ensure that any bound protein which is still present in the column that is also dissociated from the ligand, and that also is eluted. If you have chosen the right kind of salt and right kind of concentration for your protein of interest, once you've run the salt-free buffer through your column, all the biomolecules should leave the column. But there are some biomolecules, there might be a chance that some biomolecules are still bound to the ligand. In these cases, the hydrophobic interaction is actually very tight, and to remove these biomolecules which are still bound, you have to provide harsher conditions. So you can use 0.5 to 1 molar NaOH or 70% ethanol or 30% isopropanol for these kind of biomolecules which are still bound to your ligand. So as you look at the graph, as you start decreasing the salt concentration, you will start getting spikes and you will start getting proper peaks. Now these peaks represent different proteins in their concentrated and purified form. So this peak represents one protein, this one represents another protein, and this might represent another protein. And these all proteins are in increasing order of their hydrophobicity. Now once you're done with the elution step, which means all the proteins have been separated and purified in the increasing order of the hydrophobicity, you go through a wash or regeneration step in which the column is washed using a salt-free buffer to regenerate the column so that the column is ready for another round of hydrophobic interaction chromatography, and it can be re-equilibrated using a start buffer. Now you can make sure that you're getting a high resolution of separation using this graph. So there should be a degree of separation between the different peaks, which means that the proteins are eluted in a concentrated and purified form, and this degree of separation between the different peaks, it basically represents selectivity, which means that different proteins are separated at different salt concentration. Now another factor which ensures that you're getting a high resolution of separation is that your peaks should be narrow and symmetrical. Now narrow and symmetrical peaks basically represents efficiency of hydrophobic interaction chromatography. Now let's look at some of the factors which are to be considered for high resolution of separation during hydrophobic interaction chromatography. Now first one is the ligand and the groups which are attached to the ligands. Now these groups basically they contribute to the overall hydrophobicity of the ligand or to the hydrophobicity of the stationary phase. So what kind of group is attached to the ligand, that will determine the degree of interaction between the protein of interest and the ligand. Now the ligands containing straight chain alkyl groups promote hydrophobic interaction, while the aryl ligands promote both hydrophobic and aromatic interactions. Now also you have to make sure that the degree of interaction, the affinity of interaction should be moderate, because if the degree of interaction is too high, then it is very difficult to elute those proteins, and very harsh conditions have to be provided during the elution method. Now the next factor to be considered is salt concentration. Since high salt concentration is used during the hydrophobic interaction chromatography, there is basically a risk of high precipitation due to the increase in ionic strength. So you have to make sure that you're using a salt concentration which promotes the degree of interaction between your protein of interest and the hydrophobic ligand, but it also does not involve a risk of high precipitation or damage to the protein of interest. So generally sodium, potassium and ammonium sulfates are the salts of choice during hydrophobic interaction chromatography. The next factor which is to be considered is the pH of the buffer that you're using. Now pH generally influences the level of protein binding and also the selectivity of media. So increase in pH generally results in low binding capacity of the protein due to increased charge. So usually neutral pH range of 5 to 7 is basically used during hydrophobic interaction chromatography. That's all in this video. I'll see you in the next video. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon for latest updates. Thank you.